Hiya.
Hello,
How
everyone.
are how are you, Ors?
I'm good. Yes, so this is ours. We're joined with Renge, who's slightly
Hi.
under the
I'm a little
weather.
under the weather, a little sore throat, a little yelled too much at work yesterday.
Uh,
Uh,
but yeah, we'll
but
be.
I'm still here, still cooking.
Yep. One sec, I forgot to do my ping.
Okay. Okay. I've already done my ping because I'm super cool in Pog.
Yeah. All right. So, just getting into it today. We got a question from Rutabaga on the for our on our little Twitter thread that we do every Sunday morning.
We do, yes, we do this every Sunday morning. So if you wanna, uh, like suggest a topic, you can comment on our Twitter thread.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll go backwards and we'll like do one from the previous week.
Yeah. But
Uh,
yeah.
if you want to wait. But yeah, question coming in from Rutabaga. He asks, what would you say the main appeal of Tetris is? Why do people play it? Which is actually a topic that we've had I think a whole episode on
Um.
in the first
Yeah,
season.
with more of
Or
a focus on like how we can like fix Tetris or like figuring out like it was like I think it's the episode title is like is Tetris even like good?
mhm.
Um but we're gonna try and like stray away from that kind of talking about it and more talk about like some of the games we've enjoyed and well first like how we've gotten into Tetris. I think we've talked about how we've gotten into the community, but not exactly the game. Um
Mhm.
what kind of games appeal to us as pretty I feel like pretty generic members of the Tetris community. That's not actually that true, but
We're
um
not like that out there, I think, in terms of
yeah.
other games that we have played or have enjoyed.
We hit a lot of pretty average demographics for just like gamer and Tetris player, especially in general.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, we'll also talk about other games and kind of contrast those appeals. Um
Mhm.
but yeah, so why don't do you want me to start us off or do you want to?
Yeah, you go ahead. You go first.
Yeah, sure. So I think like we've had a lot of different people on, especially in the first couple episodes, and
Mhm.
pretty general theme and a pretty like common like starting point for players is like around I think it's like 3 years ago at this point. Yeah, like it's like early 2019 where the
Mm.
NES Tetris kind of popped off with the Joseph Saley video and
Yeah.
Tetris 99 releasing around that time. I was around that. I was around that
That kind of
like
like
that
boom in
generation or like that yeah
Tetris.
that boom of Tetris players. I tried to play NES on an emulator for a little bit. Didn't really feel like committing because I wasn't super interested in um, NES, and I had some friends who like dabbled a little with TF. I kind of played the game like in class a lot. I was like I think I got like sub 50 before the summer.
Really?
Yeah,
That's actually
not sub
really
50.
insane.
Was it sub 50? Yeah, it was sub 50. Before I got to um like the summer, and then I stopped playing for a while until I eventually started playing Jaws, and that's
Mhm.
kind of then I kind of incubated and just kind of got better at the game. I got like 50 APM before uh I was like a E rank before I like really got into the community.
Not relatable content.
Uh,
I think I was a part of like the same sort of group. I definitely remember watching like Joseph Saley, and then I was like really interested in the mechanics behind NES Tetris, but actually playing it was not very interesting to me.
yeah. I
Which
think
I
it's just the
think
way
is
it's
something that
presented.
a lot of modern players can relate to that sort of feeling. Cool to look at. Playing wise, meh.
Yeah.
But then I got into like TF for a little while, and I played like Jstris public lobbies, but it wasn't like until like UC or whatever that I like got into the community. But definitely like we have very similar roots. I was significantly worse than you though. Let's see. My first sprint on my old account was a minute 40. which is bad.
Yeah. I remember. I don't remember exactly like the. Oops. That is my actual Jstris window. I need to save that. I try to keep like a Mises set going. Let me just look at my first sprint. I think my first sprint on my account was like a minute-ish because I was sprinting on TF a little first, but then like I think TF started to go down. So
Mm-hmm. Actually, one thing
yes.
that I find pretty funny is
Yeah, it's like minute 15.
I was here for a while in 2019, and then I played like extremely on and off for
Yeah.
like 2 years, and then or like a year, almost a year exactly,
Yeah.
and then in like August-ish 2020, which I think was around the first UC,
Yeah.
something like that. I like
Start to
I
take the
like
game more.
started
Yeah.
playing again.
It was pretty
Yeah.
hard to take the game seriously before or like really religiously play the game, I feel, before TL started.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, and I think nowadays when people start, they Tetris kind of becomes their main game. Like, I was still
Yeah.
like throughout my like first year of university, which is like after I just like did a bunch of sprinting and like it's like I mean I was still just kind of sprinting around like this period. I was just kind of throwing in runs, but like I kind of considered my main game at the time to be melee because I was like going to the club meetings every week,
Mm-hmm.
just grinding a lot of like single player. Slippy wasn't around then, but yeah. So what I think appealed to me, and what appeals to me for games that have a lot of longevity, or like that I've actually like stuck to playing for the last few years is that there's something that I can play alone a lot, or like I can
Mm-hmm.
put a lot of meaningful practice into alone. Um, there are other games like that, but I've like briefly considered like whenever I start to first get into a game, I do look for things I can kind of grind mechanically and think about like just kind of break down to simple patterns and like kind of grind responding to those patterns. But there's
Mm-hmm.
so many other factors in other games that it kind of appeals to me less. I don't know why. Um,
I mean, Tetris is just like fundamentally a pretty simple game, right? And simplicity is good.
yeah,
Simplicity makes things relatively easier to
yeah.
understand. I don't
It's
think I'm the same way,
yeah,
but
sure.
I think while I was like Tetris on the back burner, like in 2019, 2020, because I didn't sprint PB for like a whole year, and I'm pretty sure it's because I was trying to learn finesse for a while,
Finesse.
or I don't know. Maybe I just like didn't get better for like a whole year. That sounds about right. Um,
Uh,
but during like 2019 and a couple of years before that too, during most of my high school life, my main game was Puzzle and Dragons, which is a gotcha game that's also like a puzzle game, and there's waifus, and yup,
yes,
that this checks out, doesn't it? Uh,
yes,
I think the main appeal to that game was just like I and sort of similar to you. I really liked the mechanical aspect and like being able to be like I am really good at this game, and this
yeah,
is
yeah.
why. Uh,
So yeah, funny you mentioned Puzzle and Dragons because I actually tried the game out in like for like a month, and
mhm,
I guess we can extrapolate. It's probably easy to this will track based on what I've just said, but I instantly like looked up like solving tutorials and like different patterns to to latch onto,
mhm,
and then like I kind of like learned those, but so much of the game is also just about like the characters you have and like different abilities they have, and like there's
yeah,
so many things off of like that pure mechanical skill that like it's like even though I learned it and it was fun to learn it, like I didn't really stick to like doing my dailies or like going through using up all my like stamina or
mhm.
whatever. And like I've tried to get into gacha games a lot. I'm not really the kind of person that will like attach to a waifu or something. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the the main thing that kept me in Puzzle and Dragons was just like, well, first of all, I was really good at it.
All
Uh,
right. Okay.
first of all,
Okay.
I was really good at it. I was very good. Uh, But this I managed to get like a couple of my friends at the time into it, and it's really like, especially when I don't know, it was like 2017, 2018 probably, when like the multiplayer aspect started dropping, and I would force them to do stuff with me, but I would carry them because I was really good. Uh, and I think the social aspect of video games definitely keeps me attracted to playing games in general. Uh, and that's sort of a very like big running thread, and it kind of explains why I stopped playing Puzzle and Dragons after high school. It's because I stopped having people to play with at lunch. Uh,
Yeah. No more lunch. Friends, stop
no more.
eating.
Well, no more lunch at no more lunch, no more high school lunches. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think that's a big part of why I enjoy Tetris. Is just like, even though it can be a very solitary game. Just like being a part of the community makes it uh makes it more social. I think, which is, I don't know, maybe like not even about the game anymore, and I like the community more than I like Tetris the video game. But who knows?
Yeah.
The other game that we both really like got into is Melee. I think that's like the probably the biggest common thread between us.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, for me, I just like it was sort of on a whim, honestly. I don't even remember why exactly I got into it. I think I saw some kids playing it, I don't remember.
Or sees a kid playing Melee and then he immediately goes Wave Shine Infinite Fox tutorial.
Now, well, like I looked, I forget exactly why I started to play, but I know why I continued to play. It was like so I like first like watched the Smash documentary. Like I think a lot of people, or that might have been
Mhm.
slight. Did you watch the Smash doc?
I didn't watch it when it came out. I
I didn't
watched
watch it
it
when it came out either. Yeah,
couple years after, I think.
I just knew that was like a big thing that people like watched to get into Melee, so I watched it, and then I like consumed some Melee content, that kind of thing. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, yeah, it's just kind of a very similar thing when there's like information out there, I'll like try to. It's just fun for me to like break things down and have a very like accessible way to like focus on a simple aspect of the game that will tangibly make me better.
Mhm.
So like if you guys haven't ever played Melee before, it feels very different from a traditional video game because of the lack of a or like for most modern video games because of the lack of a buffer system. Um or
Is that really what it is? I don't
I
know.
don't know if I have to explain. Basically like if you press a button in like a modern video game, generally they'll have something like a buffer. So like if I press jump like 2 frames before I land, in a with a game with a buffer system, I'll jump when as soon as I land. But in Melee, you will just do nothing. You have to press the button at the correct timing. Um, Along with the other physics systems in the game, it makes the game feel incredibly clunky at first, but it gives you a lot of control over the game, like
Once
unparalleled
you get
control over
good.
the game once you like get used to those timings, and it gives you a lot of like expression for skill just by like
Mhm.
how well you know those timings, how like and like how well you can like
It
exploit the
rewards
physics
like
system.
mastery of movement
Yeah.
for sure.
Movement is like
I
a
think
big reason why people like Melee. Okay, sorry.
that's like probably the biggest reason I like Melee too. Uh, when I was in high school, my some of my like people in like a different friend group played Melee like in the art room. Uh, there we had a little like attic area in the art room, and there were a bunch of CRTs, and they would all play like Melee and Project M.
Ah, that's cool.
Uh, Rip Project M, by the way, loved it. Uh, I was I wasn't like super into it at the time, but I had a Wii, and then I just like homebrewed my Wii, and I started playing Project M a lot on my own against like level 9 CPUs.
Let's go.
Because again, no friends, no net play.
There's net play at the time, but I think it's just less good.
it
Yeah, I was
was
also
I
terrified. I
didn't know
was
how to do it.
terrified of net play when I was like, I played a few games and some guy like flamed me for lagging. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Very Netplay's scary. Netplay with chat is definitely scary experience. But yeah, I just kind of like was a consumer of melee content for a long time. And then when like online Slippy stuff, uh which is like the like melee online basically, fan made, started like becoming more popular. Or like I basically jumped on it as soon as I could. Like I went out and I bought an adapter for like $30 and I bought a new controller,
Uh,
which has turned out to be not a great controller, but it's fine.
oh, you only started playing Slippy Melee like when Slippy came out, or like really started playing when Melee when Slippy came out?
Yeah, like I was pretty bad
Uh,
when Slippy came out, but I think I just started playing more and more. Now I
yeah.
play kind of
I was pretty bad
I
too, but like I had like like I was still playing like every week, and I occasionally played at my school's like weekly tournament, and I was surrounded by pretty good
Mm,
players. Um, and I felt myself getting better when I played with them, but like as soon as Slippy came out, I like got so much better. Like
mhm.
like a few days, I was like, wow, like everything is. I'm just a lot better. I don't know. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
I think I don't know. I don't know if I have actually gotten better at all. I play melee like
No, you've definitely
probably
gotten better at Melee.
yeah, you haven't played in a while.
No, I
Um,
know. Like since the first time I played you to now, you were really bad.
you think so?
I'm sorry.
Dang.
I'm sorry. But you got a lot. You got like way better.
Big toxicity with ores. Um, I think it's weird to think about like how I experience melee because the way I play melee a lot of the time is actually like pretty opposite of what I consider to enjoy from most games because I will play melee a lot of the time as just like a thing for my hands to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It just feels
like
good
while
to
I'm
play.
calling
It just feels
someone.
good to
Yeah,
play.
like we would do this a lot. Like
Yeah.
last year and sometimes this year. We just like play melee while we talk about completely unrelated things and just like social lubricant. But
Yeah.
I would just like play it by myself or like play it with like playing against people online while I talk to other people about different things, which is not exactly what I usually search for from a video game because I'm like I like video games as like social excuses to talk to people basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah. But I think like the common thread there between Melee and Tetris, especially nowadays, is that it's very like it's nowadays, at least for you, Wrench, is that it's very accessible, right? Like you
Yeah,
can kind of just
yeah, that's
like
definitely one thing.
pick it up and start playing immediately. That's not the true of like a lot of different, and you're not really locked into a game, right?
Hmm.
Like if you turn on a game of like League of Legends, like you're trapped there. You were held hostage by Riot Games for 40 whole minutes, maybe an hour if something goes really bad. But like it's just like for Tetris, you just like throw open sprint. Like if you have to go immediately, there's no problem with that. There's no commitment. Same with like
Hmm.
starting up melee, like beating up a 20xx bot, or like I don't know, like unranked games they take like 2 minutes. And
Yeah,
you can just quit out. I mean, you could just quit out during the unranked game too. Like who cares? All right.
I sometimes do that if I get caught up, but
Yeah, I
that's
feel
like
like
bad etiquette.
it's kind of bad etiquette, but like who cares, right? Like
Yeah,
did
they'll
I
just queue up
did I
again.
tell you once like I quit out after one game against this guy? So it's like there's also etiquette that like you shouldn't like just play one and then leave instantly. But I queued up a game against this guy and like I had to go afterwards. So I just like he I wasn't there's like the Melee online server where you identify yourself with your tag, but he like DM'd me just one game and I was like, "Oh my God." this is I instantly
That's so
left the
funny.
Melee online server because I didn't even use it. I was just like in it for whatever reason. And it's like
That's super funny.
that's so scary. But
That is pretty scary. I
it
don't know,
was
man.
funny, but like I obviously it's funny,
Mhm.
but like it's just in the moment it's like oh my god, like
These people,
yeah,
they're
you want to
they're
hide behind the anonymity of unranked. I'm just like I don't care.
that's definitely why I don't play on a recognizable tag and when I play melee.
Yeah, I definitely I also went to a local and I definitely recognized some guy's tag and I just didn't acknowledge it.
Mm.
I also feel like I tend to recognize people that don't recognize me more often than the other way around. So I try to keep quiet about those things.
It's only a matter of time before we go to a Tetris land and everybody goes, "Oh my God, are you Ors?" And you go, "Who the hell are you?"
Well, like how would I know what their face looks like? Um,
Who knows? Maybe it's Sec. Maybe it's
I feel like I
who-
might be able to pick Sek. If you told me Sek was in a photo, I'd try. I think I could be able to find him. But if I didn't know, no way. I'm done for. Um, he could show up to
probably
me on the
same.
street and like I wouldn't look. I wouldn't
Dude,
look at him twice.
I fear that every day of my life
Sek
is
showing up.
somebody.
Just
Well,
Sek.
not
Sek
sex specifically.
specifically.
Not sex
Sek
specifically. Come on.
specifically. Showing up on the street.
No, no, no.
Do you ever fear getting IRL stream sniped on your walking
Yes.
streams? Yeah.
Yes. This is definitely a thing that I have feared.
Garboken underscore shows up. Says, what up, Renge gang?
I would who mega lol him for
Yeah.
sure. No, no, no.
Uh,
Anyways,
yeah, I'm sorry.
um
Yeah.
yeah, I think accessibility is like really important to me, not because I mean partially definitely because of like the time management thing, but also cuz I'm kind of broke. Like I don't tend to play things that cost money. Uh
Yeah, yeah.
because I find it very difficult to justify spending money on video games.
I mean, like a game
Uh
like League, it's like obviously there's skins,
yeah.
but for the most part, the game is free. It's freemium, like microtransaction
Mm,
model. There's so many games like that, right? Like
yeah. Puzzle and Dragons kind of like that
yeah,
too.
gotcha games. Like in terms of like monetary gain and like how games have tried to make them make themselves accessible as possible. However, I feel like a lot of games do kind of fall under that time commitment aspect, right?
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
trying to take like a certain portion of your time every day. Um, but kind of by doing the opposite of that, like there's like there's like kind of the
You have to commit. You have to
like
like
in terms of these like little short term game, like there's
mhm.
like there's like a kind of a short term game strategy, like a Tetris, or I guess a melee. It's not really designed that way, but like a Tetris, it's like, yeah, I just play one game and then I'm out of there. Like same with like a Hearthstone or like not the auto chess game, the old like the actual card game like card games, kind of like that. They don't usually take that long. I know Rocket League games are pretty short.
Mhm.
What else? Overwatch games used to be kind of short. I don't know about comp games, but like I think quick play was like 10 minutes. Uh, that kind that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, I mean,
But
like
like
you're not really compelled to play the game every day for Tetris, but like it's kind of on its own. It does that through game design, right? It's
mhm.
just a good game, just
It
a
is
good
just a
game.
good game. I think it's interesting that if I think about the games that I play a lot, I've paid for overwhelmingly few of them. Uh even if they are paid games. Like I think I told you that I used some slightly shady clout to get TEC for free. I was just
Y-
like, "Hey, I'm on comms for Square One.
Okay.
Could you get me could I have a copy of TEC?" And then the person gave me Sarah from Enhance plus her heart gave me two copies of TEC. One for Switch and one for one for PC. And now I play TEC like kind of regularly.
Oh, okay.
But TEC like time management wise is pretty similar in that
Yeah,
even the ranked sets take like overwhelmingly little time because they're first to two.
yeah.
But the initial jump from like thinking about purchasing a game is hard for me because it's just like, why would I spend money on this game when I can
Yeah.
play Tetrio for free?
You don't play Tetris for free though, Renge.
I play Tetrio for the low price of it's like $7 a month because that's how much I pay for supporter.
Yes. I feel like, I mean, did you spend money on Genshin?
I spent $7 on Genshin, but it was basically as a bit.
Okay, so that like, if I were an advertiser, I would categorize or like a business person on like running this. I'm like businessman behind my like a game studio. I'm saying like, okay, this is a data point that like this user is willing to spend like $7 and send $5 to $7 increments at a time, but and usually as a microtransaction.
Yeah,
So
that's me.
that's yeah.
For a while, I would do that with Pad, but it wasn't as a
Oops.
bit. It was just because I really wanted a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like
But I
I'm
probably need to
down
get.
to like I think it's fine to like spend money on things you like, um, especially if you put it in like the context of food. Like if you think about how much
Hmm.
money we spend on food, like if you just like ate something less expensive for like a week,
Exactly.
you could just justify that kind of microtransaction.
This is actually this. It's funny that you mention it because this. Okay, first of all, this is super unrelated, but I think it's funny, so we're gonna talk about it. Uh, for a long time in high school, especially, but also sort of now. Uh, I would always quantify the amount of money something cost in terms of like opportunity cost if I were to purchase a bubble tea instead. So
Yeah,
it's like, if I purchased this many fewer bubble teas this week, I would be able to buy this video game or like do this
yeah,
microtransaction, which is like so stupid. It's so dumb, but it always made me laugh, so I would still do it.
yeah,
I don't know if anybody does that with bubble tea especially, but like in Vancouver, bubble tea is like quintessential food. So
yeah. It
quintessential food and drink.
it's like you kind of like can finagle around like people. This is like a I learned this in some class. It wasn't really a psychology class, more as like a business decision class that I took. But it's like people just separate things in their brain with like different mental accounts. And like if I spend too much money on leisure, I'm not going to like. If I spend like $5 on a movie ticket, it makes me less likely to spend $5 on like a boba, but
Mhm.
not less likely to spend $5 on like groceries.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have like leisure accounts but you but it's not just like an account in general.
It's just like how you
Yeah. I don't you don't
consume
view
your
your
life.
money as like or your expenses as like one big account like okay, I have this amount of money. I spent all this money already. I can't keep spending today. But
Mhm.
it's just as an aside.
If I buy one 6-month Sheepadoodle subscription, I will be unable to purchase bubble tea for a little while.
Okay, all right. Sorry. I feel like we've
That was
gone
your
through like the
mistake.
first half of this episode and like I've kind of just retread things that we've done. Let's get into like other games we've played before. Um
Mhm. Mhm.
I feel like I'm a little more into like different games than you are. Is this true? Or
A little more. Okay, nowadays definitely the case.
yeah,
Before maybe not, but I also just like played video games very
yeah.
casually
So
when I was younger.
what I've gotten into a little bit recently is I've gotten a little more into auto chess games like
Mhm.
TFT. Um, I've also been there's also like the more accessible auto chess game that people have been playing the Super Auto Pets. But I mean those games have similar appeal to me in that it's like 1v1. Um, but like there's a large aspect of like solo preparation. Like there's a lot of guides for me to learn from, a lot of
Mhm.
information to just imbibe, and it's been pretty fun to learn the game. I think like card games had a pretty similar appeal to me in that sense, but the problem was like all of the like pack farming you needed to do. So I think it's
Yeah.
pretty clear to me at least like what kind of games appeal to me. Games where there's not a lot of like padding, or like I always want to feel like I can work on something, or I'm like making tangible progress towards like getting
Mm.
better or some kind of goal. I don't really like time gated things. I don't like dailies, doing dailies, um, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's funny that you mentioned card games because I don't actually like play card games, or I have like this card game phase every so often where I will like really, really want to play a card game, but then I can never do it because it again too expensive. Why would I spend money on card game when I could not spend money on card game? But that does make things like free TCG simulators or like free TCG clones like really appealing to me. I played not even like competitively, but I really enjoy thinking about. I think I enjoy thinking about games more than I enjoy playing games, which is a weird thing to say. I played the Pokemon TCG for a while, and I was really into it. Uh,
Like there's like the online version, right? Or
yeah, but I just played on like this like kind of shady, not clone, but like
yeah.
offshoot where all the cards were free, but it was like a couple sets behind, so I'd be playing on
Yeah.
like a bad meta.
There's like a
Uh,
Yu-Gi-Oh thing for that too, right? Like there's like
yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh. I played it like a few times. I just kind of downloaded a random deck and was like, okay, I'll play this. And then I tried to download like a kind of less meta deck, and then I got Yu-Gi-Oh'd. So like I just didn't really. I only played
Okay,
against one
baby.
friend, but like it's whatever.
I really enjoy trading card games, but more so, definitely more so, just like the the theory crafting aspect of
Yeah,
trading
there's a
card
lot of
games. I
things to
think that's
try
really
out
fun.
with trading card games,
Hmm.
and like to really explore that, you kind of need to have spent a lot
You
of
need to have
money.
a lot of money,
Um,
or just like
yeah.
have really smart like business smarts
And I
in
think
terms of
that's
building
why
ecosystem.
auto chess games have become way more popular. They have a lot of the similar appeal. I think you should try out auto chess games actually, Renge.
Yeah, I enjoyed Super Auto Pets the one time we played it. You can play more
Yeah, we
often.
could play more. Or, like, I think if you really enjoy like the theory crafting as, I mean, actually, there's plenty of that in SAP as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so strategy games, they kind of scratch that itch that I think Tetris doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really for me. It also like it's a lot less less on my hands for sure. Um, and for a time, it definitely replaced Melee as like my secondary game because Melee was like doing a lot on my hands. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I
like
remember you talking about this.
so like I just like kind of unplugged my controller and left it in a closet, and instead of like rotating between Tetris and Melee, like once I got really bored of Tetris, and if I didn't have any work to do, I'd like rotate to a game of TFT instead.
Mm-hmm.
Um, eats up way more of your time though. It does. It eats up way more of your time. And I didn't really. I think I stopped playing once the new set was about to go come out, and like that means all the ranks got reset. So I kind of didn't really feel like playing, and
Yeah.
I kind of lost the habit. I might play a little more over the. I'm on break right now. I might play a few games. Um,
I think ranked is like one thing that's kind of interesting in terms. I know you don't do ranked quite as much as I do, especially in like IO.
it's just for Tetris. Like
Yeah,
it's just for Tetris. Um, but sorry, is ranked
because
important to you?
I don't know. I think Tetrio is probably like one of, if not the only game that I've really like invested myself in the ranked system and like tried to grind. But I sort of have the expectation that once Slippy rank drops, I'm going to spend a lot of time doing that.
I feel like that's the same for me too. I think it's just ranked is a less accessible game. It's inherently less accessible, I think, because they're putting some stakes on it means you can't just leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like that's Tetris for me. Tetris is the game that like I can always like grind alone by myself at any time, and I can stop doing it at any time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of my Like it's an environment which I have total control over, right? Like it's it's like rank doesn't appeal to me for Tetris in that way. But for like TFT, I don't know. It just
You're already like
like
committing.
I'm already committing myself to that much time anyway, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't when I boot up a game of TFT, I'm not expecting to be able to leave later. So like, yep. Like I don't like as soon as I unlocked rank, I don't think I've played a single normal game since I unlocked rank in TFT. Um,
Tracks.
like it's just like there's no point, right?
Hmm.
Like it's like in League of Legends, it's a little different because like when people play with more stakes, like when I used to play League, I would usually play normals more. It's like a little less stressful, right? But like TFT is a single player game, or like it's like 1v1v1. It's like a free for all for 8 people.
Hmm.
People will be glad if I leave, right? Like
Yeah.
it's one extra spot up on the leaderboard that they can be. But yeah.
I
Um
think the existence of ranked is pretty
it's
like
important to certain
interesting.
players. Yeah.
Yeah. Important to some people, not at all important to others. But I think generally I just haven't played many games that include a ranked mode, or more so I tend to not care about the ranked mode most of the
Yeah.
time. I guess I played competitive Pokemon for a little while. For actually a pretty good while. In
Like Showdown?
yeah, like Showdown.
Yeah.
In Gen 5, I was a big proponent of Weather. I really liked it. I thought it was fun. Um a
Yeah.
lot of people disagreed with me.
I
But
just yeah. Okay. So sad.
basically at no point did I ever care about the ladder. I would just like go in, I'd play a little, and I'd be like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
team is neat. This is dumb. And then I'd just like
There are
not
people
play for
that
a
do ladder for Pokemon, but I just yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
like a game I just play with friends, like during class. Like
Mm.
definitely a lot of time spent just like playing random battles, and then my friend would mauled over like I gotta like what is it like like
Damn.
yeah, it's like they just spam outrageous. I don't know. I remember that was in the rotation for the randoms. It's fun.
I really like yeah, I like
I was
even
Kyuru or
in the
whatever.
games where there were ranked, I would just tend to not care. Except Tetrio for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
I
I
think it's
think
because
it's
the
just
Tetrio ranked is very accessible. It's not really about the ranked, is it? It's just about the fact that you get to play against someone, and then I think you eventually started to care about the ranked.
I yeah,
That would be
maybe.
my guess.
Maybe, yeah. But I don't know. It's like you never truly know what the source is of why
Yeah.
you like really
It's hard to
enjoy
self-analyze
something like
these
this.
sorts of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like because Renge and I are also not really the super type to care about ranked. I think one player that really like ranked really does matter to is Jed. I think Jed really craves that like competitive aspect of games.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
You should have brought Edge out. You know
we
what?
keep talking about it, but like I think we've kind of committed ourselves to doing things very like off the cuff for the
Mhm.
past. So it's whatever. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just like so from what I've heard it's just like important for him to be able to basically just beat other players, right?
Jed
Like
definitely a proponent of like uh enjoying the playing against other people aspect.
yeah, like it doesn't really matter to him like the or I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it's not necessarily about like mastery in a vacuum. It's more like being over a certain player that he's put a target on, right? Setting people up
Mm.
as goals, or beating certain people as goals. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, something we've been sort of dancing around is like there's like 4 player types. I think we've talked about it before. It's like
Yeah.
I have it written down on a little document here. I've heard them called under different names, but there's like killers, which is like very competitive people and they get a kick out of, beating other people. Achievers, which is like getting achievements and like mastery, like perfectionist, I think is also another.
Mhm.
Completionists is kind of a way I've heard about it. socialites, which are people or like friends. It's another way I've heard it. Is like people that just want to meet other people in the game, and
Yeah.
explorers who are like who like to find things that other people don't. Like they get a kick out of like kind
Like
of being
finding
in
like
the know
weird
of
secret and stuff.
secrets. Yeah.
Hmm.
Or like being the one to find a secret. That sort of thing. Um,
I think it's pretty obvious where we each fall.
yeah, yeah.
At least
I mean, it's
like
like a
majority
little.
of
It's not like a big. It's not like a one and done kind of thing. Like people, there's
yeah.
like a spectrum.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, like I don't know. That's just a thing too. That will a framework I'll leave while we continue to talk about continue to talk about other games. I think
Hmm.
Tetris and the games we've talked about. I think we at least personally, I fall probably more under a like a completionist kind of thing. I mean, it's not really cut and dry. Like I don't really like 100%ing games. I like the mastery aspect of
Hmm.
like a skill. I don't really like getting kind of like meaningless XP and grinding in games does appeal to me, but it doesn't really last that long. I feel like
Yeah,
um
like the interesting aspect of it burns
yeah.
out kind of
Like
fast.
so like I've tried a lot of like gotcha games and other things to like try to connect with other people, but like and I'll like get into them. Like I will like do the perfect like farm routes, that kind of thing. I'll do it for like a few days and I just like hate doing it after a while because it's like not really
Hmm.
fun to me anymore. Like the fun part was like get acquiring that farm route and like
Yeah.
understanding how to do it well, and then I'm like, I don't want to do this every day. This is like it's not. I'm not really learning anything anymore. It's not
Hmm.
requiring anything new. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we ended up. Do you still play Do you still actually play Genshin at all, or like my?
No, not really. And I think a lot of people
No.
I know like also Genshin I feel like has started to hit a bit of like a stale point for certain people.
Hmm.
Like you will play Genshin now for the reason that like you want to enjoy the characters in the story. I think progression in that game has started to hit a bit of a ceiling. Um, or people have started to figure out the game more.
Mm. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I just kind of stopped playing Genshin because I don't really have people to play it with anymore. And it's just like, well, I don't really want to do these things on my own. This is kind of boring. So that I just stopped playing in general. And I was like, maybe I'll get back into it one day. But as it is right now, I'm just like not particularly interested in Genshin the game, especially since it hurts my eyes. But I appreciate Genshin for the friendships that it helps to cultivate, or like the social aspect. Again, big play game as excuse to socialize.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like I don't really know what I like for a while I don't really it's kind of a blur like how I spent my time for like whole years. I don't know what I did. I feel like I just spent it kind
Yeah.
of like talking to people on like Skype or Discord. Or like Skype went back when it was a thing. Like it just doesn't it barely makes sense to me. Like how did I pass the time? Like what tangible thing did I do? And it's hard to point to a specific thing. And like I think a lot of it's like such a blur that I tried a lot of games to try and like connect with people and like find something to talk about with people rather other than just kind of like doing random things. I guess there's like watching shows and stuff too. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Video game is the new watching TV together,
Yeah, it's
but a
just like
little
a
bit
more
more internet.
active thing. I think like it's a big thing like for introverts. You want to like have an activity to do while you like
Hmm.
it's a lot easier for me personally to have an excuse to talk like have a reason to talk with someone. Like I will not explicitly I will not explicitly go reach out to somebody unless I have a reason to talk to them. Um,
Yeah. I think for
because
us, that's why like, Wrench, do you want to play Melee? Was such like a common thing for us
yeah, yeah,
back in the old days. They're just like, yeah, and then we would go from there, and then we just like start talking. It's just like the push is a lot easier when there's something else there.
yes. But yeah. Okay. I feel like we got super stuck on on a few topics there, and stuff we've
Mm.
also already tread. But like yeah, we've talked about a lot of like these like kind of like new modern meta game, like quote unquote like the popular games um like multiplayer, quick matchmaking, like either team or like gotcha game, like stuff that's low accessibility. Sorry,
Mhm.
that's high accessibility and like free to play. Um, there's ways to connect with other people, like TFT or League, um, or like I guess there's like Valorant too. For a while, I was like playing CS with people. I'm garbage at CS. I'm like really bad at FPS games, but I like I had one friend who is super good at FPS games, and all he wanted to do was like play with friends. And I was like, all right, sure. And I got super boosted in that game. Um, I think I have a pretty deep, I have an okay understanding of all of the different concepts in the game. But I have awful aim. I have awful crosshair placement. I don't feel very confident to call anything. Even though I feel like I have a, it's just I don't know. I
Or self
like
confidence arc.
it's just
I
like
think
I don't
someone.
like, and I did like put like as is characteristic of me, as we might see, is that like I did put some time into like grinding aim and stuff, but so much of the game is stuff that you can only practice with other people. Um,
Mhm.
like the pure raw mechanical aim isn't as important as like your crosshair placement and knowing where people typically hide in a real game. And in order to really get that, you need to play real games, and I don't want to do that. And I didn't really like care enough to do that, so I stayed
Mhm.
bad at these FPS games. Anyway, um, but I see the appeal of all these games, right? I think people do.
Mhm.
It personally doesn't like these like 5v5 games don't personally appeal to me because it's too much for me to need to worry about all the different teammates and opponents. I like to break things down to very simply without needing to, and I want things to be in my control without needing to. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
like yell at somebody over VC to like do something a certain way, like
Just
or
or
like
not do
really like
that.
control
Go
someone in
do
that
something
way.
else.
Yeah, or like I won't go out of my way to do that. It's just too much effort
Mhm.
for me personally. But yeah, there's lots of other types of games out there. Um,
Yeah. Actually, I feel like, have you been doing Wordle? I don't even remember if I've talked to you about this, but we
I
did
have
we did
not been
mention it
doing
like a little
Wordle.
before. But I think Wordle is pretty interesting, at least as it relates to how I tend to like enjoy playing games, because it's very casual. It's like extremely casual. It's just
Yeah, yeah,
you do your one Wordle a day, and then you come back in 24 hours and you do your one Wordle
yeah.
the next day.
Yeah, and then you do
And
your Wordle, and then you do your Semantle, and then you do your Chordle, and then you do your Loodle, and then you do
and
your
then they have your whole user data history.
yeah.
Uh, but I think it's interesting as because it's to some degree probably the closest I've ever gotten, at least in like my living memory, to playing like a game that is very like very casual. Because a lot like most of the games that I play are pretty like I will tend to like try to get good. But, like Wordle is just kind of like this is fun.
I mean, you can get
But
good. Like,
even
there's like you can kind
yeah,
of get good at Wordle, but it's like the progression is so like
hmm
it's so low. Um,
yeah, like even in Wordle. which to me is like probably the most casual I've taken a game in a while. I will still like try to optimize and I'll like still like talk to
Yeah.
people
No, I mean,
about
like,
it,
I
which
don't think it's really possible to have, or this could just be my, like, my warped perspective. But it's just like, if there's like something you spend a lot of time doing, you're going to find patterns. You're going to find little optimizations. It's just in terms of how much the game offers you and what you decide to optimize, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like it's
I
just
do yeah. I do love Wordle though. I think it's super super fun. Actually, one other game that I was really into when I was younger was Peggle. You ever heard of Peggle? Or what is it?
was it the game
Pa,
that you
pa,
posted?
I don't remember what it's called anymore. It's the game with like the blaster and then you like shoot the balls at the roof. Peggle? Peggle? Oh my gosh. I played the living fuck out of Peggle when I was younger.
Yeah, there's a lot of flash games. I was into a lot of flash games. My like main genre as a kid was like platformer flash games. I don't know.
Run 2?
Yeah, I played Run. I don't even know. Like I also like on those like those like game maker sites. I forget the one that I like
Mhm.
GameStar something. Like
I think
I played a lot of like people's platformers levels on there. I even had a pretty popular platformer level on there. Um,
mm, I mean,
I got the front page. I was crazy. Uh,
wow. Or is doing more than some Tetris tournaments. Anyways.
yeah, okay. So what Sign said in chat is that like that's just like a huge genre in the Flash platformer game. In the Flash. So that makes sense.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just little I think it's not really possible to divorce like mastery from uh and pattern recognition from games, right?
Yeah.
Like um the scale of casual to competitive is like more like what you decide to optimize for and like how much that pits you against other players, right?
Mhm.
And how much stress that puts you under. Um
Yeah. The
yeah.
new the sort of new, I think it's just like a completely unrelated thing that just like uses the exact same concept as Wordle. It's like Wordle Battle Royale. I don't even remember
Oh,
what it's called.
Squabble?
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. That sounds really fun, but I haven't had an opportunity to play it yet. Or I
Yeah,
haven't
I
like
played it a
gone to this.
bit. There's some like meta strategies that like we'll talk we could play it, but like I feel like the game isn't that fun.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll talk about it right now. Um, or like in order for to like enjoy the game more, you have to like there's a strategy where you spam all of the letters. You have a 5 word sequence that will give you 24 letters.
Mm.
So then you just play like a word scramble. Also, it's often worth it to not solve a word. Um, and just skip and go to the next one. It's very much not like playing a game of Wordle, but like you're playing along with someone else. It's really stressful. I will say it's really stressful to play. And I don't know. It's kind of fun, but
Mhm.
it's definitely not like, "Oh, I get to play Wordle with friends." It's like a different game.
Mm.
It's scary. Uh
But I would probably enjoy it more if it was like hard mode Wordle, because like definitely it's just like sounds like the not hard mode Wordle is way easier to kind of like exploit for like maximizing points or something. And I don't know. I like finding like weird words and like the aha moment when you get the one word is just like, oh, it's very nice.
yeah.
But casual games, that I don't know. I don't play very many games casually, especially
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, I guess like casual games aside, are there any like single player experience kind of games that you've gone into? I haven't played too many of them, but I think that's also definitely a genre that um
Mm.
I
When
haven't
I
really
was
touched
younger, I
that.
played like a lot of like the story mode Pokemon, but
Yeah,
I
there's
don't
like
really know if that
Pokemon.
was just like
Yeah.
I don't know if that was ever just like me being like a child. Like I don't know what I did for a lot of that time. I had like 200 some hours in probably all every individual Pokemon
Yeah.
game. And like looking back, I cannot tell you that I played 200 plus hours worth of content in that game.
Yeah. Like, did you play? I guess like when you played like Minecraft, did you play survival?
Not really. Like honestly, no. Like I played a lot of the multiplayer aspect. I played a lot of like Hypixel, a lot of like walls, and
Yeah.
I ended up just like doing the same thing that I did for Wordle, just like optimize everything
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
my pals.
Yeah. I like playing some survival. Um, I don't think I ever had like a huge like a single player world where I played to the end all by myself. I always played it
Never.
with
Yeah.
friends. Like I always got to like the Ender Dragon with friends and we killed it and we did whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. Like there's like those kind of like kind of
There's Slay the
there's like
Spire.
Slay the
That's
Spire counts like roguelikes. Roguelikes are a big genre. I feel like roguelikes are also definitely about mastery,
mhm.
right? Like getting through those runs really fast. I played a bit of Hades. Oni was way more into Hades than I was. But like
Mm.
we're Steam family shared, so like I play all the games she does. But like one single
Aw.
player game I really enjoyed was Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Oh, I
And
still haven't finished the first one.
I also finished the first one. I actually made a game with so like my senior project was I made a game with Oni and we like basically straight ripped off the bash ability and the Ginsu water tree escape. And put it in the game because it's just so good. Ori the Ori 2 the story like I feel like what happened in the game was a lot less clear to like I didn't really care about it as much like but the game
Mhm.
felt a lot better to play. It's just like kind of an experience. It's also to me like the movement in Ori 2 especially felt good. I like the dashing. Bash is just like a genius of game design. Um I'm just there's like I don't know. Like it's just game design is a hard thing. I
Mhm.
think
Talon?
and it's also hard like as a player to really diagnose what you want from a game.
Mhm.
Players like something I've heard like in passing that like I think like Riot game designers have said there's something like that. Like the community or like a layperson is really good at identifying what is wrong with a game. Right? They'll know they have a feeling what is wrong with this game. Like what part doesn't feel good to them, but they have zero idea like how to fix that. So like and it's also hard to express what because it's hard to express what exactly about it is wrong or what about it you really enjoy. It's just like you just say something like it feels good to play or it's like cool to do. But if an ability something feels bad, it's just like yeah, this is garbage. It should do X, but
Mhm.
like that would have unexplained consequences on Y, and it's like solutions are just not that simple with game design. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what I mean
Yeah.
by that.
Who
But it's just like
knows?
this is just like a general game opinions
Mhm.
episode. That's fine. Um,
Bring it all back around.
yeah. Did you ever like emulate any like little GBA games? I played a
Yeah,
few like Zelda
I had a
games.
whole phase of that.
Which ones did I play? I think I played the Minish Cap.
I never could get into Zelda, I think. I was too dumb as a kid to like derive any
Yeah.
enjoyment from it. I would just like hit the bushes and I'd be like, God, what do I do? And then I'd go do some I'd like go play Mario Kart instead.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know.
Uh
I'm just looking through
but
my my Steam library and seeing what games. Does Cuphead? Cuphead was pretty fun. I also got to play Cuphead with other people. I use like Parsec and like I used the controller and
mhm.
what else?
I don't know. I
I have a
don't.
lot of single player games sitting around here that I haven't finished. I should probably go and do that.
I think when I was younger, did you also do this? Did you have an R4 when you were a kid to play DS games on? Any
I
illegal
had that for Game Boy.
illegal pirates? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. My dad got the for the Game Boy Advance. He got that big chip
Hmm.
with that you could load a ton of games onto.
I'm a big proponent of game piracy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
Emulation is like it's just like it's so convenient, and I don't think like it's not like they're gonna make money off of these old games anyway, right? Like
yeah.
just at least let them, s- continue to
If
get
it wasn't
attention.
free, I would not purchase the video game anyway.
Yeah,
So,
like so that's
uh,
that's better.
I think that was like a big reason why I like was able to play games at all growing up. It's just like why would I bother? Why would I bother buying these games when I could pirate them for free?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then because of that, I had like these games that I had, and I was like,
Yes.
yes, I will play these games through before I force my mom to take me to the mall, uh, to have their friend like
Yes.
download me more games.
The first game I got on the Game Boy Advance, we got it with the Game Boy Advance, was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red.
Oh,
The
that's a
second
good
video
game.
game I purchased on the Game Boy Advance was from my Scholastic Book Fair. It was called March of the Penguins, Game Boy Advance Edition, and you just kind of lead penguins as they march. They can die too. You can send them off into to a watery grave, and yeah. Well,
That's
actually, I
such a
don't think they die,
scholastic
but
book
like
fair book. I like
that's like
it's
a
a very scholastic book fair thing.
yeah, that's yeah for sure.
Huh. Yeah, I feel like we could. You know what?
Yeah.
We could have a whole episode just reminiscing about old
Okay.
stuff, but that's not the point of the
Uh,
episode, is it?
roguelike. I mean, I guess we already touched on roguelikes a bit. Do you enjoy
Hmm.
roguelikes?
I enjoy Slay the Spire, and I like playing Enter the Gungeon with my friends. Uh, Generally
I like
speaking, I would
roguelike.
say
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't play very many roguelikes. It's like Slay the Spire, Endless, and then like I've been wanting to try Loop Hero,
Oh yeah.
um, which I have sitting around,
I think
but I
they've become
haven't
a
done
much
it.
like bigger genre recently as well.
Yeah.
They just have so much. It's like I think it's like the the best. It's I mean just by kind of design, it's the most replayable single player experience, right?
Hmm.
Like unless you want to like speed run a game, which is a completely different thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. The one I
I
think I
largely
probably
agree with
played the most of is Risk of. I actually don't have that many hours now that I look at it. I just don't play a lot of Steam games, to be honest. I do just play a lot of Tetris and Melee. As much as we're talking about other games we play, we do just play a lot of Tetris and Melee. So we're trying our best here, but
it.
you know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think something new came out for Risk of Rain 2 recently.
You know, maybe it's time to get into it.
Yeah.
I think other games that I have played, I don't know. I don't play very many games.
Yeah.
I really I have phases, I think, more so than anything else, of just like games that I will play, generally speaking, uh, for a while, and then I will like stop playing them until I have a reason to play it again. Like a new update, or one of my friends is like, Renge, let's play.
All right. Last big genre, I think, and then I feel like we've covered a lot. And
Hmm.
we talked about Minecraft before. The other game that I think Renj and I have put, or I think game is the wrong word for it, but another
It's like game adjacent.
that Renj and I have both put a lot of time into, or I don't know how much time did you put into.
I put a lot of time into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. The Minecraft server, Winecraft, the biggest and I think first Minecraft MMORPG. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we did this. This was a completely, probably good couple years before we knew each other. It
Yes.
was a long time. It was a long time ago
Yes.
for me.
I played it in middle school. Um, I was a big fan of Crafted Movie, which is
Mm.
the YouTubers who were um. So it's run by a guy named Salted, who's the head admin in of Winecraft, and yeah, they just had really charming machinimas, and I loved all their stuff. And they said we're making a Minecraft MMO. I was like, that's sick. I played it for a little bit with a friend. We kind of went to a bugged area where there were enemies that were supposed to attack you but could not damage you, and they were like level 30 and we were level 20. So we killed them until we were level 30, and then we never played for like for like a long time. And then I was going through that phase of just trying to find games that would work to play with other people. And then I've remembered Winecraft, right? Um, okay, so I was trying to find games to play with Oni, and she was not a really big gamer at the time, so I feel like I couldn't have like gotten into like super big games. She also only had a
Mm-hmm.
Mac, so I was like, okay, we can't do any like big games, so I gotta like find something. Um, just survival Minecraft, it's too much at the time. Um, so I thought, okay, we'll try Winecraft. We also tried another game, Adventure Quest Worlds. I don't know if anyone knows that one. That was
Ooh.
yeah,
AQ.com.
we got bored of that though. Um, so we got to
Mm-hmm.
Winecraft, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know, it's just another one of those super accessible games. It doesn't really force you through any story. You can just kind of pick quests that you want and grind up, and it was crazy. It was a it's a lot of fun. And this was like my freshman year of high school I played that. But then like in my we stopped playing for a little bit because we got stuck on some quest or something, and then it's like, oh, we're
Mm-hmm.
bored. Um and then we finally got into the community in that game, and it's crazy. Very crazy. We
Mm.
Because there was zero end game content in that game. As soon as you hit level 100, the game is over. There's nothing to do, right? Like it's over. But you just so the guilds just kind of manufactured, um, like the forums and the game
Mm-hmm.
and the community kind of manufactured things to do once you were like done with the game, pretty much. People would find like crazy end game builds and that sort of thing, but like damage doesn't matter. There's nothing to kill. Right? There's no big boss to kill. I mean, like they kind of added some stuff later, but it's like, it's still like it was. I don't know. The end
There's
game in that
very
game was
little to
really
do.
very jank.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, became part of this guild. So first of all, like it was like a very regular thing because there's nothing to do when you're a high level player. So just like you go and like just kill bosses for like level 50 players or something, like because that's when the content gets sort of hard. That's where Oni and I got stuck, and then we kind of asked the like on the Discord there, like, oh, like we have some help with this boss, and then like they just like came in and like instant one shot it, like thank you.
Thank you kindly, and then you
And then
go
we
do your
got
own thing.
we went and did our own thing. But we joined the person's guild afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
We had to go through a whole like application process. Um,
That's cool.
One of the things I did actually once I became like one of the heads of that guild is I like automated it. And I actually wrote about it in my college essay. It was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a Discord bot to automate all of the jobs of the head of the guild. And it's like, okay. I don't know. I'm just kind of reminiscing now. But I think to me, that kind of like the main reason I played MMOs, like I do enjoy a good grind now and then, but it was mostly just to like connect with other people, and I don't really think I've had that in another
Mm-hmm.
game actually. I still talk with those friends that I've made on Winecraft. I don't really we don't play Windcraft anymore, obviously, but like, that's like
Yeah.
we've actually we've been talking with each other for like I think around like 6 years at this point. It's a very very long time.
That's really cool. I
Uh,
was not that invested. Literally my experience with Windcraft was I was really into it for a while because my brother would go to hockey and then uh I had Minecraft on like the one of the laptops that we had at home. So I would and then like I couldn't stay at home by myself because I was like 8 or not 8. I was probably like 10 at the time.
yes.
So they would like force me to go. So I'd sit at Starbucks by myself, which is like sure, okay. Uh
That
and
doesn't
then I
sound
would just
safer than home.
it does not, does it? Uh and I would just sit at one of the tables. I would sit at the exact same table every week, and I would boot up Windcraft, and then I would beat up the cat for like 3 hours, and then I go
Yeah,
home.
right outside Almouche.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would. That was like my whole. That was like my whole Windcraft
yeah.
experience. I didn't realize you could do quests at all. I was 10, so I was really stupid at the time. Uh, so I would just sit there, and I'd be like, this is the height of luxury. There, there's nothing greater than this. Is just
Yes,
beating up the cats outside Almouge for
yes,
like hours and hours on end.
yes.
Uh,
We followed like strict leveling guides. We're not the same.
I didn't. I was 10. I was a kid. I was stupid.
It's
All I
okay.
want to
I'm
do
just
is
kidding.
beat up the cats, and then like, like every couple days, every couple weeks, I would go up by like a level or two.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but Windcraft was probably the one of the first games that I like did very like religiously. Not really. Like I would have like a schedule set for it. Like this time when I am here, I will play Windcraft. Which I don't know. Maybe is just like a function of having been in like that time and place just like all the time.
Yeah.
But who knows? You know what?
Yeah. I mean, I
I
think
enjoyed it.
we'll keep talking about this, but I think we should probably cut to some chat questions before we call it. So,
Mhm.
because like I've seen people have been like chatting relentlessly, and I haven't been able to respond really. So we'll just keep talking about MMOs, and we'll start to respond to chat now. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I've been sort of chasing that like community feeling with MMOs.
Mhm.
Um, like I feel like one big reason was the lack of endgame content, that there was so much focus on community, because it's just a bunch of players that had like sunk costs. Like I put so much time into this game, I do not want it to just be like over. But
Mhm.
uh like I think in a lot of like MMO devs understand that endgame is the game, right? You can't have longevity with an MMO without endgame. So like there's a lot of focus, like I think like a lot of like games nowadays, like MMOs nowadays, they kind of just railroad you to endgame, and then you can just kind of play with like raids and like other kinds of
Yeah.
like fashion, that kind of thing. Like I feel like I tried to get into Final Fantasy 14, hated the story, didn't even really get to raids, but like they just railroad you. Like you level up by spamming the main story quest, and then you have to spam the expansion. You're paying $60 a month, so you're encouraged to just go through it as quickly as possible, and then just start doing raids, and that's the game. And Final Fantasy 14, I think, is even encouraged, like the way the raids are structured, that you don't play the game for large portions of time, because like the rewards, like once you get the rewards, they're over. Um, or I don't know, something like that. I didn't really get there. I knew people that were at endgame, and they were like, "Yeah, you should go complete the story quest, and like so you can play with us." I was like, "All right, I'll do it." And then I was like, "I can't. This is so boring."
It's not
Um,
yeah, not interesting at all.
yeah, I don't think we played the same Final Fantasy sign. Or I don't know. I think a lot of my friends also cared about the story. Um, that was my experience
Mm.
with it. I just didn't enjoy the game, but I wanted to get to play with my friends. And then
My I was never good enough to play
Yeah.
MMOs.
Oh my
Except
gosh.
Winecraft.
I played Guild Wars 2 for a little bit. Guild Wars 2 was fun, and it had a pretty good leveling system. Yeah, I think a lot of people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, another thing is that I think Final Fantasy has like it's like free to play up to level some something. You can't raid with on free to play. I think it was pretty boring to me. Like it was polished. I definitely agree that it's like there was nothing super bad about Final Fantasy, but it's just like not that good.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That tracks.
for Guild Wars 2, it was pretty fun. So the way you level in Guild Wars 2 is you get experience by you don't get experience by leveling really, or by like grinding really. You get experience by exploring the world. You get XP for like unlocking waypoints, unlocking areas, doing little side quests around, and it was just it encouraged you to walk around and like look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they did have story quests as well, but you didn't really. I don't even think you really leveled from there. But it was a lot of fun. Um, I definitely wasn't super into it. Again, like I'm always down for a good grind. The world exploration grind wasn't amazing. I luckily joined Guild Wars 2. Um, like I definitely joined Guild Wars 2 at a good time because I joined it as soon as the mounts came out. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I think I don't hate leveling. I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard to describe what I didn't like about these games,
Mm-hmm.
um, and how I would fix it, and if it would even fix it, and like for the majority of players. But like I don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
I played MapleStory for some time. That's a big grind game. I like MapleStory. Uh, MapleStory 2 is leveling fun. It depends on what you like. It's kind of like an artificial measure of progress. Uh,
It just depends on like whether or not you consider grinding, because I know some people just like really enjoy like the sort of like monotony or like repetition. There is joy in
Yeah,
repetition for
yeah, yeah.
sure.
Like I kind of like I'm kind of down for a good grind. Like if the
Mm-hmm.
combat feels good and like I start doing more damage when I level up, you get that kind of fake sense of progression. That's like I'm down for that every once in a while. But if it's like I'm doing this, like I never feel like I'm killing enemies faster. I never feel like I'm like the story isn't like engaging me very much, and like the pacing is really weird. Again, I can't really describe it well, but like I tried to play Lost Ark. Um, I couldn't really get
Mm-hmm.
through the main story. I think Lost Ark definitely also railroads you through to. It definitely railroads you to max level, or like the like soft cap max level. You can keep leveling past 50, but like all the end game content is unlocked at 50. But it's just like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't. You just walk around. I feel like the first section of the story was pretty well done. Like they had some like cool like fights, and they had some like pretty neat like cinematic piece like cinematic like kind of instances where it's uh like you're in, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but like you're like in this huge siege, and like the camera angle pans out and you see there's like actual like gigantic armies, and like you're killing like demons, and it's like wow, like the scale of it is pretty cool. And like the I think the main appeal of Lost Ark, or at least from how the gameplay looks in the trailers and how I've experienced the game so far. Note that I haven't gotten to endgame because I just can't. It's like 15 hours to get to endgame apparently, and I don't know. I can't put a time.
You don't have 15 hours to spare?
Uh, I don't know. I also only played it with Oni, and like we play in like 2 to 3 hour instances. I don't know. I might try
I
to get to
see.
max level and like see if that's like a game I can get a community out of. But I don't know. It's I think for me, like, it has to be like community. What was really appealing to me about like Windcraft and that community there is that it was like community purely. We kind of defined whatever we wanted to do, and that's sort of what I think we're gonna try and bring it back now to Tetris, right? Like I think that's where you and I are sort of in the position where we are like in pretty decent positions to like
Yeah.
shape the community, right? Like we get to define how things go. Like if well, I guess me a little less. I just kind of make guides, but um, I feel
There's a
like
lot
I'm
of like
tangibly shaping like how
mhm.
people are can't have the options people have to approach the game, which is encouraging to me. Um, and for you, you have um, the ability to like build that competitive scene and provide like alternatives to people trying to approach the competitive scene.
Yeah. I think to kind of bring it all back in. The big goal is to find like the big goal for me within the community is to like help people like find joy and ways to enjoy themselves playing Tetris, right? Like Melee and Slay the Spire and whatever other games, Minecraft, sure, uh, that I've played in previous walks of my life have probably made me enjoy things differently than each other, right?
Yeah,
And then now, since I'm in this position of community leader, whatever the fuck, maybe finding people who have enjoyed Melee or enjoyed Slay the Spire will also like find some joy
yeah,
in playing Tetris. And, like cultivating that is pretty good. Feels good.
yeah. And I guess like trying to bring it back to like the again continuing to try to bring it reel it back into Tetris
Hmm.
like and tying everything together. I think like all the community aspects from games that I've enjoyed, trying to like half-heartedly get into games of because like I wanted to play them with other people. um I, I would describe like MMOs are games that I got into because of people. um and like I tried to connect with other people about
Hmm.
but I like the community that I found weren't always like quite there like quite right for me. I couldn't match the investment in order to like really engage with those communities. Because like the gameplay itself I felt lacked substance.
Hmm.
Um, or lacked it didn't appeal to me as much. Um, I think for a game like for like single player games, it's not really something that you can always enjoy with people. You can gush about it with other people, and you can take inspiration for them if you're trying to build something. But I think like for me, I like I'm like a software developer. I like making games as well. Like I just like to build and create things or like construct frameworks like for just seeing patterns that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. And I don't versus a game like Melee, which I feel very much a consumer of, like all of that like bricklaying and foundation has already been done in that game.
Hmm.
Not fully, but like for a game that's in like I think one step ahead of where Tetris is, right? In terms of like scale, right? Like they're kind of
Yeah.
us, and let's say like they're Melee is kind of like the golden child of every kind of niche game,
Grassroots.
right? It's like
Very.
the
Yeah.
it's like a niche game that managed to force forcefully like pull itself up to some kind of public conscience, right? Um, so I think Tetris, it's exciting to me to be able to build our way up to that, and instead of just kind of, I wouldn't really want to, like, I don't feel like there's a really good place for me to build that in Melee without needing to put in a bunch more time and to continue to
Hmm.
get better at the game. If I were way better at Melee, I feel like I would be able to like I might have some like I might have some like motivation to do something like that, but uh like even when I
Eh.
was pretty bad at Tetris, I was thinking of stuff like I mean like this I remember kind of being excited when I was like I didn't really understand how the game worked. Like a
Hmm.
few months after So I started playing. I was like, man, I should like make a YouTube series where I like go through my thought process when I'm learning to apply a different T-spin setup. And nowadays, I'm like, wow, what an I, what a thing that would have been. What an idea that is. It is
Mm-hmm.
an idea. It is one idea that I've had.
Yeah.
I think it might be still cool if someone were to do that, but I don't have the heart to do something like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Is there anything you want to close on? That's kind of my try to closing note about how.
No, I think this is a good place to stop. I will just say that I'm sort of in the same boat. Tetris being as small as it is was definitely part of the incentive. I love being a part of a growing community and like being able to be someone who's like leading change and like like
Yeah.
innovation. Even like in my own projects within the Tetris community, there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing that's like I'm trying to incentivize other people to also like have the similar amount of investment that I do in like pushing things to new audiences and pushing things
Yeah.
to like new players and stuff. And I think I don't know, it all wraps around. Maybe I would be kind of like that in Melee if I was a lot better at
It's
Melee.
like, yeah, like, and it's also like if there was someone else like really putting out like good content for or like good instructional guides for Tetris. I mean, I guess Garbo was for some time, but I also definitely became more active and more considered doing it once he like really quit. Like
Mhm.
I'm not the kind of person that will like force myself upwards to a leadership position or anything. Like I will usually I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to do something like that unless there's like no other option. Right? Like I started to make more to like work on tournaments when there is like nobody else other than like Team TSD
Yeah.
and WPL working on tournaments. Nowadays there's so many small tournaments that like wow, I don't really care about this. Um, and I think especially recently I came to like think about what I really cared about doing in the Tetris community and taking
And
a
the
step
answer is
back from
content.
a lot of places. Well, there's a few different things. There's a few stages to what I want to do. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's good.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's a good place to
that's a
stop.
good place to stop.
Yeah.
This is actually
So,
a really long one. I think it's because we tried to talk about every genre of game that we've like even like kind of had an interaction with. Yeah, it's also sort of hard. I sort of feel bad about talking about this topic because I don't think I'm that much of like a cultured gamer or quote unquote. Not that
I think
our
same.
opinions are
We just kind of have
necessarily
like
made any less valuable because of that, but it's just I don't know.
mhm.
I
We just kind
know.
of be we just kind of game for the sake of
Yeah.
gaming. And there's nothing that's a good thing, I think. Normie opinion's never a bad thing. Although
Yeah.
we kind of have the we kind of played similar games. When you get down to it, oh,
Yeah. I think that
if you
is the
plot us
pretty
on time over time, we have played like overwhelmingly a lot of the same games, which I find very funny.
I don't think it's that funny. I think it's just what happened to be like popular. Like we're around the same age, right?
That's true. I don't know. We don't even like enjoy like exactly the same things out of games, which is why I find it very humorous. It's just like
Ah, okay.
we just happen to be in this like the same sphere, sorta.
Yeah. But yeah,
But yeah,
thank you everyone for watching. Uh yeah, we'll head out. Goodbye.
we'll catch you next time. Thank you for supporting us on YouTube, on
And Spotify as well.
Spotify, and here on the stream. If you're looking to be a part of the discussion whenever we happen to talk to chat and you're listening uh to us on YouTube or on Spotify, you can catch the stream at ors_null on Twitch. Record these like randomly on Sundays.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Thanks for
Peace.
coming.
See ya.